Welcome to the second Final Fantasy Advance 5 Advance Fiesta run. Different emulator. Apparently we switched ROMs sometime in the last run. I'm not sure when or how. I'm pretty sure we changed. But we will begin with another run. And I can already tell you, it's gonna be fun. Much like last time, I went with a pure chaos run. And we've already had some glorious fun develop. Have some faith, Lana. And so, Fiesta begins as it always does, with an unknown hero on his chocobo. Canonically, this hero is technically known as Bartz. We, however, will know him as something very different. Own custom color for the second run. What exactly we'll know him as, we'll find out in a few. Who are we? We are? This is the most difficult part. Who are you? We are none other than the hero known as... Who? Yes, we are who? And as usual, never forget to pick up your complimentary Phoenix Down. We don't get many of those early game. And they're a little expensive for the early game. And so with that lovely little thing out of the way, as usual, Lena and Galuf have been introduced. Now we're back on our chocobo. And with nowhere else to go, well, I guess we follow them. He's a very bad chocobo, he really is. Galuf, I forget sometimes. Galuf just get. The noises the old man makes are hilarious. And once again, we are very lucky to have saved them in time, before they were swallowed up by the Earth, which is not reacting well to the sudden stopping of the wind. Yes, we are who? You see why I chose this name? The comedic effect is brilliant. Not as good as O. I could have gone with O, but that was someone else's shtick a few years ago. That guy now runs 2 teams in Fiesta simultaneously. A left and a right. You should really watch it if you wouldn't believe how a white mage opening sticks with a non-white mage opening pretty spectacularly, evenly throughout the game. And also provides proof that all Fiesta is Fiesta, regardless of 1, 2, 5, or a dozen. That would be rather taxing on any computerized system. A dozen Fiesta. A smattering of Fiesta. Would be glorious, if a bit technically challenging to pull off. Doable, though. Perfectly doable. Let us ride. 3 heroes. 1 bird. 1 old man, one gal, and 1 normal, everyday hero who's got a very odd name, but no one will ever talk about why it's so odd. Not even the Chocobo. Not even Boko. Not even Boko will explain his name. Boko just knows he is who? And that's all that matters to Boko. Dangerous for Chocobos. It's dangerous for all. Potentially. Actually, not really, being the first. Not even dungeon. It's got some things in it, but nothing to actually worry about. Or maybe we're playing with the original music. I honestly don't recall. Actually, I'm pretty sure this is not the original music. Yes, this is most definitely not the original Final Fantasy V Game Boy Advance music. It bears a striking resemblance, a lot of it. Especially this particular cave music. There's a striking resemblance, actually, to some of the music they've played in Final Fantasy Mystic Quest. If you've played that, someone gained a level. Just some of the instrumentations are highly reminiscent of certain dungeons in that game. I say this because I played that game to death on the Super Nintendo, and I consider it a moderately decently good game. Most people would disagree with me. As a Final Fantasy game, it's not that good. It lacks a lot, actually, in the way of the interaction, the music, the references. It lacks a lot of that. A lot of what makes a Final Fantasy game. which is a bit unfortunate, but I still enjoy that game, even to this day. I will occasionally bust it out and replay it. If you're looking for what exactly I'm talking about, I do believe I have a Let's Play of that game on my YouTube channel, which is, of course, youtube.com/stompinllama. Exactly the same as this stream you could be possibly watching. Or if you're watching the VOD later on YouTube, well, congratulations, you already found my channel. Watch the Mystic Quest. Find out why I enjoy that game. Specifically, its music. Almost as much as most other Final Fantasy music. And it could be just similar composers. A ship without wind. That sails without wind. It must be magic. Again, this is a world where magic is known to exist. They sell it in the shops. So, is it really that confusing how a ship can sail magically without wind? I mean, you can cause fire to burst out of anywhere. Anything to catch fire. You can control lightning, for goodness sakes. Why is it so surprising that a ship can sail without wind? The little inconsistencies. And we thought, who was slow on the uptake? Lena is just very naive. Always has been. She will become less of that. And Galuf is just a bold old man. One thing I will say, the sprite work in this game is very good. Unfortunately, the Steam version follows with just larger sprites for pretty much everything, more detailed and everything. But they've lost a lot of the simple charm. For example, when they were hiding from that pirate initially, as the pirate unlocked the door, it looks pretty good. You know, with these kind of sprites. With the ones they have in the Steam and mobile version, because they're like a tile and a half tall, it doesn't work as well. On top of some very poor tiling decisions. Because if you look at the water here, you can see, or at least if you're actually playing it, the stream is probably being very horribly muddled. You can see the individual squares of water. On the Steam port, you can see the lines dividing the tiles. It is very disruptive, sadly. But I will say, for a port of the game, it is not a horrible port. Other than the fact I had it crash on me. During my first playthrough, I didn't even get to Siren before it crashed, which was the sad part. But fortunately, I know this game now. Anyway, we've just been captured by pirates. That is never a good thing. Especially with one of the characters being female. This does not bode well in the least. Especially considering she's also a princess. So, yeah. This is not going to end well for her, much less any of us. I mean, Hu and Galuf will probably end up pressed into service in the pirate ship. Lena, well, she has a much worse fate probably ahead of her. Potentially, anyway. Why the captain had a different sprite? Well, we'll find out shortly. She seemed important. Ooh, he seemed important. After all, how many people have purple hair? It's a good question. Why do you have the same pendant as the Princess of Tycoon? Intriguing. Yes, there are also some nice tricks. As Ritz Blues has just pointed out, there are some very nice tricks on the GBA version that, frankly put, are technically bugs. And they were fixed in the mobile and Steam port. Which means we can't quick leak bosses. A quick leak is a specifically time mage thing that allows you to basically kill every boss, including including the final boss, sorry. I need to remember not to spoil the game while I'm talking about it. Everything can be quick leaked. The final boss takes like 12 hours to do so, assuming you transition between everything properly within, you know, the appropriate time. So any crew with a time mage could theoretically triple crown the Fiesta. On top of that, the Steam version has some rebalancing. Even just really early rebalancing of, say, weapon availability. For example, I believe knives are available in the first town, which they're not in this version, because this is a port of the Super Nintendo, as I mentioned, as you can probably guess. So, not a lot of effort went into rebalancing, and rethinking through some of this stuff, whereas the Steam and mobile versions, well, they're not even ports. They're pretty close to just sprite redoing of these games, with some adaptations to the various devices. But now we have a boat. We've left the bird behind, and now we have a boat. We've left one piece of transportation behind for the second. Final Fantasy V does this a lot, as we'll see in this particular. We'll see in this stream today. Let's just have him take us to the Wind Shrine. It's not hard. It's straightforward. I mean, you could get into fights, I think, but there was no reason for it. So now we're joined by Ferris, the pirate captain. Anyway, into the Wind Shrine. I mistakenly, on my first run, said that this was the Chancellor. He is not. So I'm going to assume he's like the supervisor of the Wind Shrine. You know, the guy who lives here with his various underlings. Researcher. The other guys are researchers, scholars. And he's just their head honcho. He's the guy who compiles the reports and sends them off to headquarters. There are also some other various tricks the GBA has that I'm not exactly completely aware of myself, which is unfortunate. So if anyone remembers any of them, feel free to offer them as they come up. But please do not try and spoil this. For those who have not played this game before, I would recommend it. It's very well balanced, and actually a lot of thought really went into this game in its development. And what I mean by that is most Final Fantasies have their bosses immune to, like, most forms of special status effects. Death, you know, poison, petrify, mini, toad. This one, they are nicely balanced to give an ease of convenience. Let's say an ease of convenience to enable the quick solution of some of these bosses. Which if you'll, you know, stick with the stream, and I do plan on going through at least Final Fantasies 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6 at some point, but that will be sometime in the future. It's not even on my initial set of ones I wish to cover initially, games, that is. Anyway, first boss. This is a Wing Raptor. Wing Raptor has 250 health, and has one small gimmick, which we will try and avoid him using. This is part of his gimmick, but it's also pretty insignificant. What he does is he likes to cover himself, and that makes him, I don't want to say immune, but I believe he will counterattack. This is very standard across every Final Fantasy game. Mystic Quest, again, had one Pazazu who did something similar, another bird-style boss. I don't know why the bird-style bosses, but the bird-style bosses do that type of thing. So we have our second Phoenix down, so if we happen to lose somebody between now and the end of this dungeon, which is momentarily, we could bring 2 people back. Oops, someone gained a level, we just don't know who. Here we are, the Wind Crystal. And I get to reveal what our first job is, while the cutscene goes on. Trust me, we're all gonna like it. If you saw my last run, I had a Black Mage and 3 Berserkers, because it was a Berserker Risk Pure Chaos. This is not Berserker Risk, because fortunately this took place post pre-registering. So multiple Berserkers is not going to happen. Question is, what did we roll? We are going to be staying freelancers until at least the Water Crystal. We have the start of a glorious run with another Berserker. Now, Berserkers are not a great class for multiple reasons. For one, uncontrollable. You cannot control them. Fortunately, they are not here in the Wind Crystal. So we will not be quad-zerkering ever. We may be double, we may be even tripling. Until Fire Crystal. What is King Tycoon doing here anyway? No one is sure. No one is certain. No one is certain. Oh, he just got evacuated. Knight and monk, blue mage, thief, black mage, white mage. Any of those would have been acceptable, including monk, which most people think is not a great class. I mean, it isn't. It has some major disadvantages. Berserkers at least allow you to equip axes when fully mastered, but it takes a while to fully master a berserker. Berserkers also allow a very fast World 2 if you grind for a specific dropped weapon late in World 1. We will want at least one of those, and this silly bird This is a silly bird. No, I do not want an explanation. Bye, bird. I think that's one of the few times they use that sprite. I think they put it in the game just for that, pretty much. So Berserker, as I said, is a good class. Well, it's considered low tier because it's uncontrollable, which means focusing down an enemy is very hard when you have any team with a Berserker. Which means you have to often over-level the party. Anyway, we're here in Tool because the canal, which leads to Waltz, which is where the water crystal is currently locked. There's a canal there, and we don't have a way in. So, I'm coming in here to grab our free shoes and various other items. There's a set of leather shoes, along with a whole bunch of useful-ish items. Mainly because we have no way of healing, which isn't a big problem. We did a black mage opening last time, and black mages had no way of healing either. So this will be simple and straightforward. Free leather cap and leather shoes. They don't always drop that leather cap, which is quite convenient that they dropped that. You could talk to them about the game if you're new to the game, how it functions, yada yada yada, yada yada yada. That's the tutorial house. We don't have any use for magic, so we will not be purchasing any magic. But if you're playing the game, for the first time, you could spend a lot of money on things you will not need. And this is one of the more annoying parts about Final Fantasy V is the job system, to be frank. Does everyone have one of those? Seriously, everyone has a leather shield? I don't think we did. No one has a leather shield, do we? No, no one has a leather shield. I guess the leather shield really doesn't do much. That's rather weird. Because it's not like broadswords are meant to be worn without a shield. Yeah, they give you a significant boost to evasion. I don't know. Game stats are weird like that sometimes, I guess. Now, there's the magic shop. We have no reason to go there yet. And that's a bit unfortunate. Because I believe we lose access to something if we do that. If we don't buy them. Anyway, Ferris is up here. She said she was gonna go drink with her pirate friends, but instead, he's up here, sleeping away. I wonder what specifically he is up to. That is a delicious question, Lena. That particular soundtrack, that particular track, I just love how often they use it in the game. It is quite hilarious sometimes. There's one other thing we can do in Tool, and the reason for that we're going to be doing that is this piano. Now, sadly, the piano is currently trapped behind these 3 dancers who do a dance of some description. The 3 of them are now one entity. I'm not going to ask. The piano is a very important side quest. Every time you find one, use it. The piano skills are an unlisted skill. You are going to want them in theory. Anyway, there's one other house. Yeah, we don't have the money to do anything. So there is a complimentary tent right there. Zoc, the guy who built that that canal to waltz. Why it's the Torma Canal, I have no idea. But ideally, if you're going to be playing this game for yourself, you know, for fun or for Fiesta, you can either pick the Game Boy Advance port, which is, like I said, a straight port of the Super Nintendo with some aspect ratio adjustments. Or you could play the Super Nintendo version with the fan translation, which is where the butts instead of Barts comes from. The English, the original romanization, fan-wise at least, comes from that. It also includes, I believe, this particular soundtrack. I believe this is a patch. I patched this version with the Super Nintendo's sounds. The music is far superior in the Super Nintendo version. Straight up. Just the Game Boy Advance, it's acceptable. It's an acceptable form of soundtrack, but it isn't Super Nintendo level. Just because they have different sound controllers. The Steam and mobile ports, I believe, have the Super Nintendo music in them. So, could be considered an advantage. There's also a PlayStation 1 port, which I would never recommend anyone play. At all. Because it's a fairly early PlayStation port, it has to load every battle from the disc. That means every battle starts with this wonderful Photoshop swirl. And then you wait a few seconds for the game to load the battle. And when the battle ends, you wait a few seconds for it to load you back. Honestly, It was acceptable for the time, maybe. I mean, it was the first look at Final Fantasy V we got. But for Fiesta or personal playthrough, unless you have a lot of extra time, I wouldn't recommend it. Whose folks? They died. Ooh, huh? Take what? I'm sorry. This is a beautiful, beautiful name we've chosen. Yes, take care of her. I might need to do that next run. Just the things you can name the character that just make it so awkward as awkward as a sentence. Ironically, we finished first Fiesta run kind of in like 2 weeks, kind of not. It was only like 14 streams, but because I don't stream every day, I do try and stream every day but Sundays, it sometimes gets a little mangled and a bit garbled. Oh no, Ferris, don't leave the crew behind. How are the 4 of us gonna sail that boat? Only one of us knows how to tie the knots. And the terms for a sailing vessel. I think Galuf might know them. Ferris most definitely does, but Lena's not used to hard work. And it's a hard work to run a ship. She's a princess. Can you imagine the blisters she's gonna have? She's gotta get used to wielding that sword first, somehow. Wind at our backs. Yeah, that's good. That's good, guys. That's good. Anyway, Ferris is now equipped. Lena's the only one with shoes, and you can see the minor differences in stats. There are some minor differences in people's stats that make them technically more competent at certain jobs, but only technically. Okay, who came with a leather shield? Ferris came with a leather shield. Blast it. Oh well. It's not like the game told me that he did. You're just now realizing this. That's a problem. That means everyone suffocates, right? That's not good. I thought something looked off. Yeah, something is off. Bear with me a second. Something is off, and I just noticed it. There we go. I thought the aspect ratio looked off. For some reason. When using this particular actually it's more the software, the streaming software, It's a bit picky sometimes. There we go. I'm sorry I didn't catch that sooner. That was a bit unfortunate. I'm sorry. There, everything is now in its proper aspect ratio. I don't know why it does this. Why OBS in particular does this. Well, Ferris has an intuition in his bones about King Tycoon. Who will come with you? Oh, who will? Yes, we were given the power that we cannot use. This is going to end greatly. Yes, let us depart. Not being able to really hurt or kill anything. Also, this emulator has seemingly fixed the problem the previous one had, where I had some skating issues, let's say. We're going to want to get everybody safely to level 4, but with everyone being pretty much as strong as anyone else, the enemies are not going to be tough. Oh, Lena, Galuf, and Ferris are all in sync. Notice that's a significant jump in health. That is not going to stay that way. But with 4 freelancers, pardon, most of this early is going to be pretty much a cakewalk. If I'd wanted to, you could have farmed back in Tool. You know, farmed outside on the lawn with the squirrels, which you should never do. Well, you could actually do the Nutkins are not particularly problematic. Ah, yes, I chose active mode. We'll see if this is going to be my hubris or not. Active mode means enemies can attack while you're selecting your magic or items. Wait mode is the opposite. And here we are already at the second boss. The infamous and beautiful, and returns greatly. The great, the mighty Carlabos. Carlabos has 650 health and is weak to lightning, which we cannot use because we do not have any form of lightning. We need to be very light on our potion usage, because we only have so many, and every turn we are not attacking, Carlabos gets closer to murdering someone. And every time he murders someone, well, it's gonna be unfortunate. For these potions are only healing, and I was hoping he was not going to do that. But with 32 damage, up swipe, he should not have too awful much more health. We just need to make sure to not die. Too much, anyway. Because I really don't want to desync Lena, Gelf, and Ferris's levels if it can be helped. We just needed to get 20 attacks through to Carla Boss. Just gotta be getting awfully close. Although if he keeps doing that, I think we've succeeded. It'll just be in the next wave of attacks. Black mages can tear through Carla Boss. White mages have to endure him, but they have the magic to do so. And that was just about perfect. We have almost no potions, which is unfortunate. Something is wrong, though, with the ship. Oh no! Sildra got left behind! No, Sildra! Or Hydra, as you're properly supposed to be translated. No. No, Sildra, you died. Now how will we get anywhere? We will end up where all the plastic ends up. Although there's no plastic in this world, so that is life. Just some minor adjusting of the overlay. No big deal. And we end up somewhere. Remember, all wreckage cast aside in the ocean ends up somewhere. The graveyard of the sea. We have one of those in real life too. It's full of plastic. Anyway, while you're here, always come down here. This is important, especially if you're running a white mage team. This is the flail. The flail is your friend. It's slightly stronger than the broadsword, but most importantly, can be used from the back row, meaning you take half damage from enemies. This freelance team we're running will benefit from them greatly. Now, white mages and black mages can make great use of ways to murder these skeletons very quickly. We don't have any of those available to us, being freelancers. Someone gained a level again. Pretense, which are always good. Now, enemies also have the same row feature. Don't know if you've noticed, but if there's something in direct line of sight between you and an enemy, they get in the way. Just Ferris gained a level? Have we somehow been desynced on our levels? We have, but not by much. That will matter less and less. Unless we have to do like we had last run, and have a massive grind just before World 2. 990 gil would be helpful if we had a shop. Oh, they are really trying to kill Lena this time. There goes any pretense at the Brave Blade. We have 2 potions. This is not bode well at all. Another Phoenix down. That'll be helpful, because I'm going to just start letting people die if they die. Not bring them back. Which is not what you really want to do. Especially when enemies are dealing a lot of damage relative to your HP. An elixir, though, that is a very rare drop, and is a welcome offer. Elixirs are full HP and MP restores in a single bottle. That Mind Flusher has just had his mind so flushed, he's screaming his own face off. Now you will never look at those guys again in the same light. We don't have far now. Thank goodness we have reached the halfway point. It's a fish in his shorts. I'm not sure how it got there, but it's there. I don't want to know what you were doing, Butts. Who? I'm sorry, I'm going to occasionally refer to him as Butts because Butts is brilliant. Reminder. Galuf is like in his 40s, possibly 50s. Who and Ferris are in their, I believe they're 20. Lena is a nice young 19. While technically perfectly fine, she is younger than all of them. And likely dressed in a very princessy type manner. Now you see why I've accidentally been referring to Ferris as a she. Ferris is female. This is, I believe, something occasionally known to happen in historical contexts for reasons such as this. Yeah. Galuf is now secure once again in his manhood. Level up. And she now hops into the bed, soaking wet. At least everyone else got a chance to dry off a little. Although I do wonder how Lena had a spare set of clothes, and 2, she somehow kept them dry. I mean, suppose it's possible there were some spares on the ship. This may have been a trading vessel after all. But no one knows. For sure. Ferris is Ferris. We've only known them for the drifting time. So maybe a few days. Free save point. But we also got a free heal. And as you can see, the numbers are still adding up rather nicely. This is going to be very helpful in a bit. I'm going to change Lena back to the sword. The flail is not doing her any justice. I mean, it's keeping her safe, but it's not keeping up on the damage. And that's probably just a stat thing. It doesn't benefit as much from, say, strength. Could also be that she's the weakest character and I'm having her use it, but she'll be competitive nonetheless. She should be, anyway. Nope, not that way. We need to go this way. Because in here, there's a world map. This is one of the 2 places you can get the world map. And you should pick it up. Yeah, the flail really is only for a white mage party. It doesn't seem to be benefiting from Freelancer as the chat has pointed out. It's useful, I guess. Pick it up anyway. As I said, this is a pure chaos run, and so there's a possibility we'll have a reason for it at some point. Oh, yes, this is filming partly for YouTube and such. Also because I can. Yes. No, we will not use our potions. They're precious. Couple of antidotes and a phoenix down. Very helpful. I might just have to let Hu and Galuf die at some point. Anyway, we'll be heading back to use the tent. And possibly get some more levels. Trust me, those levels will be very helpful. Let's hope we can get there safely, though. We could still be stopped and stomped pretty heavily. The antidotes will come in handy in a few in the next dungeon, which we should... we might even have time to tackle that one. But we've now broken triple digits on the health. Yeah, oh yes, that flail was doing Lena no good whatsoever. I must say, this is a much slower ship graveyard than our last run. Last run we just blazed through it thanks to the power of the black magic. These skeletons really don't like Ferris. And that's the third dagger we have. At this point, I don't see much of a reason to continue fighting these enemies. They just are gonna cause more issues than they're worth. I know there's a set of items I missed somewhere along the line. I just don't recall where. Nor at this point do I... They're gonna kill Ferris. They just killed Ferris. They apparently don't like the pirate. Oh, I did not want to do that. Oh, I just wasted a Phoenix down. That was not a good idea. Fine, game, fine. I will take your hint and go use another one of my tents. The game seems intent on making me waste tents. Why did... I just wasted 2 Phoenix downs. I am now slightly upset. Just slightly. I only got 1 elixir drop, sadly. But that'll still be very helpful. I'm wondering if it'll work on the next boss. I mean, we could get very lucky and get some of them, but I believe they're a pretty low percentage. And, you know, it could be helpful. I mean, I didn't have any money to buy some in Tool, which was the problem. And this dungeon normally isn't a problem anyway. The boss is occasionally an issue, but shouldn't be. I didn't save, did I? I did not save. Nope, 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 do not do that, no. I almost wasted another Phoenix. Blast it. Blast it all. Once again, they're trying to kill Ferris. I've never seen the AI take such a hatred to a single party member. We'll go save. I think I forgot to do that. Regardless, the 1 elixir will likely come in handy, because I think we might be able to strategize the next boss with it. I think. Regardless, we could probably strategize around another item. I think that'll work. I'm not seeing anything that says it won't. Nope, no more elixir drops yet. Now, question is, did I... No, I haven't saved in a while. Yeah, level 7 should be sufficient. If we come across any more things that drop elixirs, which I believe are the ghosts. I mean, we've had 2 knives drop. And daggers. I think we were very fortunate to draw Berserker as our first party. As our first set of party. Of the party. As our first job. You could, theoretically, draw from any of the pool, which means you could get the Earth Job Mime, which is far late in the game. There's an entire possibility we will still draw Mime at some point, but no more than anything else. The enemies have been dropping a lot of money. We have nearly 4K. This is very helpful. If we had a shop, we could buy some potions at. Well, they appear to have gotten over their obsession with Ferris, which is more than we could say for Galuf or Who at this moment. And we appear to be in pretty good stead. So we will attempt this boss, whose name I will keep in secret until we see it. I also love the the vast number of, say, punny things all the cast have to say. Particularly, Who and Galuf are particularly punny. The other thing I love is that this game in particular has these serious type moments where there are subtle revelations and hints to things. Like, why is Ferris going with Lena? How odd. I mean, it could be that King Tycoon is Ferris's liege, technically, thus holds some sway. Maybe. Stella is the only one in this scene who doesn't get a portrait. It makes her stand out very horribly. I'm sorry, Galuf. Who is over there with Stella? Currently having his soul drained. And this is one of the only instances, actually, of a double-sized sprite. This is one of the few times they experimented with such a thing before they did double-sized sprites in Final Fantasy VI. This is Siren. Siren is our next boss. We're his friends, despite only knowing us for literally an hour and 15 minutes at this point. Well, however long we were drifting, it looked like it was nighttime. So, a day, maybe 2, maybe 3? It's hard to tell. The game does a very bad job of saying how long it has been. Yeah, they probably did during the drift. It's not that Galuf remembers anything. And again, I love how they all kind of have a different slight reaction. Again, it doesn't say how long they were drifting for, just that they were drifting. This is Siren. Siren has 900 health and has just hasted itself. So we need to get in like 20 attacks, much like we did with Carla Boss, which is not hard at this point. The annoying thing is, as you can see, it has magic and has now just cut the amount of damage we can deal in half. It's also now undead. Being undead has some advantages, such as, I don't believe this is gonna work, but no, that's not gonna work. Yeah, we are not gonna survive this. Yeah, we are officially dead. Yeah, it is heavy. We are dead. There's no other way to put it. We are dead. We are not dealing any damage to speak of. It has Protect up. Okay, Protect is now down. In theory, we will not die, but I just wasted our elixir, so... Yeah, Siren has these two modes, unfortunately, which are very hard to get past. There's a chance, though, we will survive. It is not great. We may need to do some fighting out here. I don't want to call it grinding because it really isn't. Alright. Oh, that was not good. Anyway, potions and most healing magics affect undead inversely to everything else, which means they hurt them rather than heal them, which is very useful. Might as well give it another target. Well, it was nice knowing everyone. They're not likely gonna survive this, the next round. It is possible they will. Though not if it hastes itself. I'm getting vibes of the final boss from the last run. A lot. Although, if it cured itself, that suggests we're getting close. We beat it. Barely. Oh god. Drop some bronze armor. Oh good. The old man who doesn't know anything saved the younglings. And they all have a good laugh at his expense. And we run out of here and we never come back. We now have no equipment and no items to speak of. Put up a tent. Everyone's alive again. And we have one tent. One ether. Two, I want to say antidotes. And you get off that item list. Never touch that again, Lena. You are the one that's going to be put in the berserker state as soon as we can. So you have some usefulness. You will be the berserker, Lena. You will know the anger. Oh good, a golden needle. That'll, if we run into anything that can petrify us, that'll come in very handy. Now fortunately, over here, there's a dot. This dot is a town. Town is Garula. Hail Garula, friend to all Everyone except the monarchy. Kill Garula, friend of democracy. Goodbye, Garula. Fare thee well. It's a good thing you guys didn't see, because I guess I just gave Garula a salute. Garula is great. I do enjoy Garula. Even though he has literally no purpose, I didn't know he could occur this... I don't want to say early, but I didn't know he could actually occur at this moment in time. Anyway, upgrade our swords, toss the old ones into the furnace, along with our accidentally spare leather shield. Get rid of the knife. Yes, get rid of the knife because we have 4 daggers. Daggers could be helpful. Depends on what we draw for the next crystal. Problem is, we have some... 3 of those. 4 of those. 2 of those. No, I don't know about the what makes the copper so different. And we can buy 1 more shield. Now we still don't have, sadly, any way of affording any potions. But that's fine, because we will hold on to the flail and the daggers. No, actually, I'll just don't need the daggers. Just straight up don't. What we need are the potions. There's no way around it. We need potions and more than 2 antidotes. We need more than 2 antidotes. There's also a rather specific item that we can get. If I can remember how to get to said item. There it is. We now have a frost rod. Now I'd have to look at the rules of Fiesta, but I believe we are not going to be allowed to snap that. Because, well, maybe we will. Regardless, piano. While I look that up. It does not say. Regardless, we will be attempting to not snap a rod. I'm just double checking. This is the second run I've made, period, of Fiesta. So I'm not sure if freelancers are allowed to snap rods or not. I mean, freelancers can equip everything, so technically I think they can break rods. I mean, freelancers equip everything, so... in theory, they could... yeah, I could just straight up equip it, so in theory, I could snap it. I think. It's not anything I've particularly tried in the past, so I'm not exactly sure. I mean, it might be the... well... and I do kind of want to keep it. For one very specific fight. Okay, we are going to want... some potions. Some antidotes. And sadly we don't have any Phoenix Downs because I accidentally used them all. That just means no one gets to die, and we've got one tent. One tent, that's all we need. Anyway, if you were to wander around town and talk to people, you would hear them talk about a mountain to the north and how there's a dragon there, specifically a wind drake, which is a rare animal because there's only one known to exist. And it's the one Lena's father rode off in. What it's doing here, no one has any idea. It confuses Lena, because last she knew her father was riding it. We're dealing a lot more damage. Good, this is much better. Although this next boss is going to put everything we've learned to the test. We might need to do a little bit of level grinding. Now, if I was doing a no 750 run, which would specifically ban rod snapping, even if I drew a... I'm not sure if there's something very specific regarding the drawing of not Freelancer on the no 750 run. It is entirely possible that you just can't get Freelancer on a no 750 run, but you are specifically forbidden from snapping rods in a no 750 run. So even if you have, say, Freelancer, you just can't snap them. I do know that much for certain. But since this is a regular, pure chaos run, we're probably safe to just snap willy-nilly. Theoretically. Anyway, I just loved the Galacat design. They're a beautiful designed enemy. I mean, it's a cat with some gliding wings. Who doesn't love the Galacat? We'll probably try and hit level 10 before the next boss, but I make no guarantees of it. I will also guarantee that we might be able to push through to the Wind Crystal with some luck, if the boss decides to cooperate. Currently 2 levels out. Yeah, I'm keeping the Frost Rod for the boss after next, because he's a pain. Though if we have enough trouble here, I could use it to basically skip this boss, but then the next boss is not so great. If you don't use it to, like, void 2/3 of him. I mean, we could always get some more tents. But so far, nothing has been able to really hurt us. Ah, there they are. The headstones. I was looking for those. Wonderful number, by the way, Galuf. I enjoy that number. It is a glorious number. Since we have some potions, might as well use them. I believe these headstones have a possibility of dropping an accessory. While the accessory would not be super helpful in our current status, that command is going to get a little in the way. I've forgotten how the standard format works. Last Fiesta run I did with a non-conventional control scheme with the up, down, left, right type of attack of input. Okay. I got scared for a second there and thought we were all gonna be blinded. Well, here we are. Level 8. Level 8. Is that gonna be enough? Remember how I said the flail wasn't going to be very useful? Yeah, it's going to be useful. I'm going to try something, and this is going to fail horribly. Lena goes and rushes off. While they are rather a rare creature. Pirate insults, they're so good. See, even Magician mistakes Ferris for a man. Rope bridge. Now we could snap the rod and skip Magician, who is a wizard, as you can probably guess. The reason I put everyone in the back row was not for Magician. Also, nice touch to detail, Lena was poisoned. No, Magician has 650 health. That's less than Siren did. No, the reason I put everybody in the back row is partly so Butts can just get to wailing. If you deal damage, enough damage, you can kill her before the second half of the fight picks up. I recommend doing so if you can. We're not gonna have that kind of luxury. And we also don't have Protect, or White Magic, or Black Magic with which to really blitz her down. The reason everybody's stuck in the back row is at any moment, momentarily, she mentioned her husband. That is Forza. Forza has 850 health, he's a physical attacker, and he's going to hit like a stinking truck. Now we could, if we were a Black Mage, like we were on the previous run, put him to sleep, and I would recommend doing so. You could also silence Magician if you are White Mage. I would recommend doing so. We have none of those options. Our options are to not die, like Galuf just did. He is very bad at not dying. Almost as bad as Lena is at not getting poisoned. Dang nabbit. I only have one Phoenix down, too. This is going poorly, although if we can kill Magicia, half of our problems will disappear. Okay, Magicia is dead. Now we just have Forza to deal with. He's got some moves, but they're manageable in comparison to Magicia. Like I said, he is manageable. Ah, dang nabbit. Oh, there goes Ferris. It's now up to Lena and Butts. And no, I'm not switching anyone to the front row, because they are going to get murdered. Tackle is dealing 50 HP, 50 to 60 HP worth of damage from the back row. Yeah, we would just get splattered if we attempted this at any other formation. And it's also entirely possible we don't have enough potions. Like I said, he has 850 health. And I am now out of potions. We are dead. This was an attempt at Forza and Magicia. This is a failed attempt at Magicia and Forza. That was Magicia and Forza. Or Magissa. I don't know how to pronounce it exactly. Got the double S in there. Anyway, we obviously need more potions and Phoenix Downs. I just poisoned everybody. It's a good thing I had those Phoenix Downs. Those Well then. That was dumb. Let us not accidentally do something dumb like that. Let's avoid the stupid flowers. And run back and get some items and experience. Although, honestly, the ship's graveyard was giving out a lot of money. So if we really need money, which... not kinda. We could use some money. Problem is, Phoenix Downs are 1,000 gold apiece. And by snapping the Frost Rod, I could kill Magicia outright, and she never calls in Forza. But we can't purchase a replacement rod or get a replacement rod until after the next boss. And if I'm honest, the next boss has some problems with a team without Protect. Would be problematic with. I'm being vague as I can, because as much as I just don't want to spoil what the next boss is, because he's pretty awesome. Awesomely tough, if you have no idea what you're doing. Sorry, got distracted there by the phone doing things. We should have some money. We still can't be super loose with it. But I think at level 10 we should have hopefully enough health to be able to attempt Forza and Magicka again, same strategy as the last. With another Phoenix down and a ton more potions. Or we could go back to the ship and try and farm some elixirs. But I think we're just gonna run back to town, run back. By then we should be level 10, which should cover most of the problems. One thing I do like about the way this game tells its story is it doesn't dwell like a lot of other games do. Like a lot of other Final Fantasies do. It's like, oh, this big, tragic, unfortunate event just happened. Well, it's over. Like, hello, Sandgarula, friend of democracy. Hatred of monarchs. Friend to all children, all beings, except kings. How fare you on this fine day on the beach, Garula? Take us with you, Garula. We wish to return to your homeland. Regardless, the inn is a very cheap tent. So 10 gold is cheap. We will purchase his finest Phoenix down. A chunk of potions. See what we have in here we could sell. And we will purchase another Phoenix down. We should have plenty of potions now. And enough Phoenix Downs to try and keep everyone alive. Yes, we've got more health. We should have no problem, with any luck, with Magicka and Forza once we hit level 10. Back attacks are always annoying. I've always found the mechanic, and no matter which Final Fantasy or various other game it comes in, rather annoying. Preemptive strikes, on the other hand, are always great. I think everybody's hitting that magical number. Oops. Accidentally pushed the fast forward button. I need to remember to not touch it because the music goes silent. And nobody wants that. So if you hear the music cut out at any point, that means I've accidentally, or purposefully in some cases, pushed the fast forward button. Ah, these enemies are now starting to deal less damage. Let us see what everyone's status is. 168 for the next-ish. We should get that more than enough by the time we get to the save point, even if we just rush there. Especially if we encounter some Gallicats. Nice one, Lena and Galuf. I appreciate certain numbers. Most people appreciate those kinds of numbers. Very good, Ferris. You disappoint me, Lena. You were 3 too high. And you... Oh, good one. Who? But you disappoint me, Galuf. You disappoint me. A little too low, Ferris. Good one, Lena. There we go, Galuf. You understand. You understand more than you let on, you sly old fox. What have you been doing your whole life? Very good. Everyone seems to be using even numbers as their partner. Couple of more battles, and everyone will be at level 10, which we should be able to succeed. Not if we try and fight that, though. Regardless of how it turns out, we will not be able to unfortunately push through to the next crystal. It is starting to get a little late, and for those who are not in the know, I work the night shift, so this is my wind-down period after a nice, hard day's work, and we're pushing 10:30, which is normally when I stop streaming anyway. So a couple of hours early, bright and early in the morning for those of you who work the normal shifts. so you'll be able to join me for the rest of Fiesta, as Fiesta continues daily, Monday through Saturday, at 8:30 to 10:30, Tuesday through Saturday, with a late start every Monday, which starts at 9:30 due to shenanigans in the normal world. So this will be the last run of Magicka and Forza, regardless of how it goes. Everyone is now level 10. We will use our tent. I meant to save that in a different slot, but I didn't. Regardless, let us watch this scene in fast forward. Here we go again. I forgot to put everyone in their formation. Well, for this first bit, it doesn't matter. And actually would make it go a lot easier. We might actually be able to round her out if, Okay. Now, everybody, you will retreat to your rows. Everybody. It makes little difference. I mean, we're dealing significantly more damage than we were before. Relatively, anyway. Anyway, you, grab your flail. We could maybe have rushed her down, but I don't think that would have... It just would have summoned Forza faster. I mean, regardless, 650 health, she's almost dead. And everyone's still alive and in fairly decent health. That couple of levels seems to have done something, which is very good. Okay, now everyone kill the giant muscle man. We should have not hopefully too much of an issue with him. What a difference a couple of levels can make. A couple of levels and some good RNG. As proven by our last run, which ended gloriously because we had 3 berserkers. Previous Fiesta run. No, I'm not gonna let up on that because it was 3 berserkers and a black mage. At this moment in time, the only thing worse than that would be 4 berserkers. Although, oddly, Forza appears to be damaging everyone fairly equally. I'm not sure why he would do that. Maybe he is in a berserker state. Maybe he is some form of proto-naked orb berserker. It's hard to tell. Actually, I'm not sure Final Fantasy makes another reference to Magicka and Forza ever? Past this point, which is odd because they're a very interesting fight overall. I mean, there are interesting fights in other Final Fantasies, just none quite. That was Magicka and Forza. And a whip. Whips are very handy. We have freelancers. Freelancers can equip whips. Whips have a chance to paralyze. That's what makes them very good. Plus, we got a free mithril helm. It's what King Tycoon was wearing. That was the difference of 2 levels. They're also pretty decently powerful if you happen to have something that can use them. And here's one of the few times we get to see the Windrake's name. Something has hurt him. Must have been Forza. And Lena gets herself poisoned yet again. Doubly poisoned. Triply poisoned. And she passes out. This girl will get herself into so much trouble because of her naivety. Stars and garters. You know, I will push through to the Wind Crystal. We would normally stop momentarily, but it's not going to be too much of a problem. Thanks to Frost Rod. Who is afraid of heights? Everyone is afraid of heights. Sorry, I just noticed that was slightly misaligned. Regardless, we have our next mode of transportation, the Wind Drake. He can fly, but he cannot pass over mountains. Wind Drake is going to help us find a special scene back at Tycoon Castle, which will allow us to gain some items. Being freelancers, we will be able to use most of these items until the next crystal, which is going to be momentarily, which means we have 1 boss. Here is Castle Tycoon. Talk to the guard. The Chancellor wishes to speak with us. Remember, we have the princess with us this whole time. She is the sole remaining member of the royal family. So the Chancellor will hold things down while she, who was never trained to likely be the royal heir? Well, she may have been, but she's not. She's 19. Don't shove this on her. Now, what do we know about Lena and Ferris? We know they have the same pendant. Both were drawn to King Tycoon. Something is going on with these two. There's a history here. Lena has an elder sister. The older sister was lost many years ago. Now, I suppose it's entirely possible that the pendants are just from the same jeweler. Now, there are reasons we came here, and it's not just for these high potions, which are great. Yes, the Windrake has survived. It is good. And it's not just for the items, although we will strip this place bare of any and all items it may possess, which it has a good number of items. Princess Sarasa, an older sister, lost at sea. Sounds suspicious. Ah, it's just me. That's got to just be me, right? There's the balcony. Ah, this leads to the tower. I don't believe there's anything up there. Where the Windrake sat. 2 thrones. Very few. Very, very few of the castles in this game have 2 thrones. You might say they were for the king and queen, but you would be wrong. We can get through here now. This guy was blocking the way. I'm going to let you in on a little medieval secret. You always had a king or a queen. You never had both. A katana, the useless throwing item. The royal half of the genetic spectrum was given a particular name, and it was never queen or king. It was always the, say, prince consort or a royal consort. They were the other half of the genetic code for the making of the heir to the throne. You might get a princedom or some type of land out of it, but you were never had a king and a queen. Which means, yes, the Queen of England, her husband was not the King of England. He was I believe, he may have had some silly title of some description, much like Charles does, Prince of Wales. But regardless, over here is Waltz. There's not a lot we have to do in Waltz. I mean, we could do some item upgrading, but we should really save that. Because we don't know what awaits us. And to be honest, powered rings are useless. Currently the longswords are also useless, but we're going to hold on to them. The shuriken is useless. So, what we're going to do now is inform the King of Waltz that he really, really, really ought to consider not amplifying the crystal. It is likely just going to aggravate him. Free silver specks, which is what the headstones would have dropped, I believe, on the mountain. And I believe there is, yes, Garula. Friend of child. He's shy. Do not tease Garula. Hater of monarchs. Friend of democracy. Garula. Pity Garula. He is shy. Anyway, I think we're well set up weapon-wise. So into the castle we go. Surprisingly, they don't have anyone guarding the gate. That is very surprising. There is an item we could try and take from here, but that would be a bit silly. It's guarded by a pretty nasty enemy. Something has occurred. It's another giant chunk of rock falling from the sky. And it appears to be directing itself towards the tower. That's not a good sign. The king and his 2 guards. Specifically, I'm talking about it's considered basically endgame equipment that is available freely. See, this is the type of things you can get away with Freelancer, and it's entirely possible we will roll Freelancer. It would be unfortunate, because Freelancer is by itself useless. Anyway, I was on a tangent there and I lost where I was going. Anyway, meteorite. Tower. And here we go. Level 10. What happened here, guys? Oh no, not Garula. Not hater of monarchs, Garula. Friend of democracy. I thought he was friend to everybody. Oh wait, he is hater of democracy. He is hater of monarchy. That makes sense. Anyway, these mages suck. They suck a lot. Let us not engage them. Let us not. These wyverns and the pasta soul, however. Oh, why did I do that? I attacked with Galuf. That was dumb. Fortunately, the whip and the katana are overpowered for where they are currently in the game. So, Freelancer is just breaking this bit, which is good. What happened here? Garula is after the crystal. That is not good. Now, we have some items to... Is the silk robe better than the bronze armor? Actually, yes. Shockingly, yes. Oh, I did not want to do that. Bad boy who? Bad boy. A maiden's kiss. And a save point. I never did pick up another tent, did I? No, but we have enough potions. On top of that, I didn't talk about the specifics of what the heal staff does, but as you can see, it's basically a free cure 2. Which, if we have something who can use staves, that can be useful pretty much throughout the entirety of the game, pretty much. I never got to use it in the previous run, thanks to Black Mages not being able to equip those things, but heal staffs are great. They really are. Once again, back row shifting, because we are slightly under-leveled for where we're going to be going. Because, as hinted at, Garula is here. Unfortunately, this knight is not very good at stopping the mammoth known as Garula, who has 1200 HP, gets stronger as he goes along, he counterattacks, he double attacks, he will just murder you. Frost Rod snapping deals almost 1,000 damage. Now we have to murder him quickly, because he will counterattack and double attack. Son of a... We may have a problem here. I can't keep an eye on who's selected. Oh, she now is equipped with nothing. That was, very dumb of me. I need to get her equipped with something. But I also need Galuf to heal her before everyone dies. Because everyone is very likely to, suddenly, randomly drop dead. Diamond Bell, which is also pretty powerful. That was Garula. Garula is very hard if you do not snap the rod. Both times I have fought him in Fiesta, he has died that way, to a snapped rod. We have the next job. It is a ninja. Which means we can use katanas, and that shuriken I threw away, we could use that as well. Time Mage, we cannot use that. There's a possibility of that, though. Mystic Knight, also not a possibility. You. And I forget if this is Ninja. Please let it be Ninja. Please let it be Ninja. Oh. So, to put ourselves in festive garb, everyone put on the wolf suit. Everybody. Everybody. Into the wolf suit. This is why I kind of wanted to keep those knives. Because everyone is now an unarmed berserker. I have no control over the entire party. They... In battle from now on, I have no control over them. None. We've basically rolled a quad berserker. From now till fire. We have, problems on the horizon. I don't have the money to afford a full set of berserker equipment for everybody. I might be able to buy everyone axes, which is good, but we are currently quad zerker. This is not what I was hoping for. But we are now Bearnin. You're berserker ninja. And unfortunately, Sildra has passed on. A moment of silence for the sea serpent Sildra. Enough of that. On to getting everybody berserkered. I want to say ninja is... Notice, however, the significant increase of health that everybody gets, thanks to berserker. Berserker is very good. I can't even afford a battle axe for everybody. Throw the longswords away. Bronze helm is useless. Can everybody now afford battle axes? Yes. Battle axes are good. Axes are good for berserker. They're not accurate, but they are very, very powerful. Also, everybody to the front row. And did I have any money left to speak of? Not really. Buy what equipment we can. Butts is now all armored up. Stay at the inn and we will call it for today. We went a little over, but that is fine. That is more than fine, actually. And I think we've pretty much spent the last of our dime. At least everything I care to sell. Because we don't know what's coming next, folks. We could get any class, and ninja is, I believe ninja's earth. Earth crystal. I'll have to double check that. So we have a water job for the wind crystal, and a job we can't use for the water crystal. Chances are getting good that we will be able to roll another job at some point. One we can actually use. So folks, until then, we'll see you guys tomorrow for more 4-Job Fiesta.